Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to every NBA team Celtics Shaq. So we did NFL, now we finna do NBA. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Every NBA team's Celtics Shaq. How does one meet the criteria of being a Celtics Shaq?
Gotta be washed.
As the name would imply, it's another term for a washed former star who's in the twilight of their career. They provided very little on the court, and it looks weird to see them on that team. Bonus points if their photo gets used in a washed player meme. Keep in mind that some of these will be more subjective than others, so if you feel differently, just let me know in the comments. But we've got a lot of garbage to get through, so we'll start at the top. Starting with the Atlanta Hawks, I'm going to go with Rajon Rondo.
I was gonna say Carmelo Anthony. I mean, washed in an Atlanta uniform, though. I don't know about Rondo. I would probably say Tracy McGrady. But, I mean, this ain't bad.
Some may point to 43-year-old Vince Carter sitting in A-Town, but he was a regular rotation player that could still hit a couple threes every now and then. Rondo?
Now that you just reminded me, it should have been Vince. It should have been Vince. Vince should have took this. This is a terrible take now. Yeah, Vince should have took this. I think Vince Vince in a Atlanta uniform. Yeah, I got one more in me.
Had no such luck. Fresh off a championship season with the Lakers, it was hoped that Rondo would be a great leader and backup to Trae Young, but that never came to be. It's never a great sign when your best game with your new team is your first one. He can never find any consistency due to a mix of health and safety protocols and various injuries. He only played in 21 of the possible 43 games, averaging career lows in every major stat. He wouldn't even get time to unleash playoff Rondo, as he was traded to the Clippers of the deadline, where he played a little better. For the Boston Celtics, we have,
Celtics Shaq.
Well, you know, he's the whole reason this video was made. The poster child for washed athletes, a sports meme that will stand the test of time. It's Shaquille O'Neal. I made a more in-depth video about Shaq's time with the Celtics before, so I'll try to keep it brief. Bringing Shaq to Boston was supposed to be beneficial for both sides. Boston would get a solid starter while Kendrick Perkins was on the shelf, and Shaq would get one last chance to tie Kobe in the ring count. And to be fair, Shaq wasn't terrible when he played, but therein lies the issue. He was never healthy. The 38-year-old only played in 37 games.
But I will say this, though. When he was out there on the floor with the Celtics, he actually helped them win a lot of games. Like, his presence alone helped them win games down the stretch, because it's like, hey, sometimes Shaq coming off the bench, so sometimes it's like, hey, we got Shaq going up against a second big. That's not good. So, hey, throw it down low to big fella, let him get a couple. I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't doing nothing on defense, but he helped in the rebound department a lot for the Celtics. And when they needed quick little 2 points to stay close, keep the game close. So wasn't all that bad, but you know.
You used to have it, fuck nigga. You used to be something. That nigga moment over.
After missing 2 months due to a litany of lower body injuries, Shaq would return to a huge standing ovation, only to immediately injure his calf. He would only appear in 2 playoff games before retiring in the summer of 2011. For the Brooklyn Nets, we've got another very infamous stint. I was tempted to give it to Paul Millsap, but ultimately, I had to go with Kevin Garnett.
Who else? Who else? It couldn't be nobody else but him. What are we talking about here?
You light my fire.
just saying, who else was we gonna go with?
He was packaged with Paul Pierce and Jason Terry in an effort to finally bring a championship to Brooklyn. All it cost was the picks that would become Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You know, nothing huge. Garnett had to have a much bigger role in the team due to an injury to Brook Lopez, and played about as well as one would expect from a 37-year-old with a history of knee injuries. Brooklyn was knocked out by Miami in the second round, and Garnett was sent back to Minnesota at the 2015 trade deadline. His only meaningful contribution was to the meme world, giving us a montage that rivals that of Celtics Shaq. For the Charlotte Hornets, I'm going to go with Tony Parker. That team is loaded with guys who make you say, he played for them? But I don't think any of them had the legendary status like that of Tony Parker.
Yeah.
What makes this so weird is why he would choose to spend his last season in Charlotte, of all places. It turns out that the Spurs wanted Tony Parker to take a step back, mainly chilling on the bench, while the Hornets offered him a much bigger role. He wasn't terrible in this backup role, averaging around 9 points and 59 games on the bench. Man.
Bro, this is my first time even seeing a highlight of him in a Hornets jersey. I remember that season too. I was like, wait a minute, he in a Hornets? I don't remember a highlight of this nigga, bro. God damn, bro. God damn, bro.
You light my fire.
Get this sorry ass nigga out of here! You suck!
I'm just saying.
Seeing Tony Parker in anything but a Spurs jersey just feels cursed. Ugh, the dude should have just retired with Ginobili. For the Chicago Bulls, there were a couple interesting picks. Tends to happen when your team wins 6 championships in a decade. Of the many players who suit up for Chicago during this dynasty,
man, I can't think of any. The only one that come to mind is Dwayne Wade, but he was still good though. Dwayne Wade was still good, so I wouldn't say Dwayne Wade. Oh, Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol. It's got to be Pau Gasol.
None looked as strange as Robert Parrish. The Celtics legend collected plenty of hardware in the 80s, building a clear-cut Hall of Fame resume. He showed an impressive amount of resistance and longevity, even after the Celtics' glory days were over. He joined the Bulls in 1996 at the age of 43.
And still got a ring, so hell no. Give it to Pau Gasol. Give it to Pau Gasol, bro.
In his lone season, he only played in 43 games, averaging around...
This nigga still got a ring, though.
But he was in the right place at the right time, as he got ring number 4 after the Bulls beat the Jazz in the NBA Finals. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, as much as it pains me to say, I've got to go with Dwayne Wade. There's just nothing positive to take away from this. At least when he went to Chicago, he was playing for his hometown team and he wasn't completely cooked.
Nah, he went to Cleveland. Bro, seeing Dwayne Wade with any number other than 3 is wild, bro. Seeing this nigga with a number 9 number, yo.
You light my fire.
There were some good moments there. Nothing that would hurt a legacy. That can't be said about his stint in Cleveland. That whole Cavs offseason was just a cheap attempt to compete with Golden State, putting together a team that would have been a real force in 2013. But surprise, surprise, this team was a disaster. Wade only played in 46 games before the Great Purge took place, and he was sent back to South Beach, where he finished out his career. If you're a Heat fan, you just act like he went out to get some milk in 2016 and came back a few years later. For the Dallas Mavericks, I'm going to pick the Worm, Dennis Rodman. Rodman was a key piece to every team he joined. Whether it be the Bad Boy Pistons, the mid-90s Spurs, or The Last Dance, Rodman always found a way to be a contributor despite being undersized. But when the Bulls cleaned house following Michael Jordan's second retirement, Rodzilla was one of the casualties. He spent a year with the Lakers before ending up in Dallas. Now, his stats are very Dennis Rodman-esque, averaging around 3 points and...
That's what I'm saying, though. How's this wash if he's still putting up Dennis Rodman numbers? How's that wash? If anybody looked terrible in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, it's Darren Williams. Hands down. Darren Williams had to... Yo.
You light my fire.
It's Darren Williams.
But he only played in 12 games, primarily due to his attitude. He just did whatever he wanted. Everyone else, including the team
That's
owner,
not wash, though.
It was a nightmare, and his on-court temper tantrum was the...
it's not washed though. It's just his attitude, bro. I don't think that's considered washed, bro. I think when we say Celtic Shaq, I think we have to look at the term of somebody just being washed. He wasn't washed. He just didn't get along with the team. It happens. I'm not rocking with this. I'm choosing Darren Williams, bro. Darren Williams or try to think. I can't think of him off the top of my head, bro. It's got to be Darren Williams, bro.
The final straw. He was cut the next day and would never play in the NBA again. For the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to pick Roy Hibbert. Part of me wanted to pick Tim Hardaway, as he was a bigger star, but there's a different level of absurdity to Roy Hibbert's time in Mile High. At one point, Hibbert looked like one of the NBA's premier defensive stars. He made the All-Star team twice and held down the fort for the league's #1 defense.
I don't even remember him being in a Nuggets uniform.
But his star would begin to fade not long after his second All-Star nod. Just 2 years after making the All-Defensive team, Hibbert was on the fringes. He started the year in Charlotte, was sent to Milwaukee, and then immediately flipped to Denver.
Damn.
He only appeared in 6 games for the Nuggets, not even averaging a point.
Damn.
He was released in the offseason and never played in the NBA again. Knowing that this guy played on the same team as Nikola Jokic is two completely different kinds of centers on vastly different career trajectories, like the past meeting the future. For the Detroit Pistons, I'm going to go with Tracy McGrady. I know there may be some who feel like Allen Iverson.
No, Allen Iverson was balling in Detroit. Y'all niggas tripping. Y'all revisionist history, bro. Revisionist history, bro. Allen Iverson was balling in Detroit. I think what happened was because they traded away Chauncey Billups, I think the team as a whole, their chemistry was just like, it was down because it was like, if Chauncey can get traded, any of us can get traded. And lo and behold, Rip Hamilton was gone. Tayshaun Prince left. I mean, shit, they broke up the core. Like, let's be for real. They broke up the core. Rasheed Wallace, I believe Rasheed Wallace, he was gone. I think he was gone. No. He left the season after. I'm tripping. This was 2009. Revisionist history, though. Iverson was balling in Detroit. Was he the Allen Iverson of a couple of years before that? No. But he was still putting up numbers.
More. But at least Allen Iverson had something left in him. He was an all-star. He just didn't fit Detroit's system. That same excuse cannot be made for Tracy McGrady. The 7-time All-Star saw his prime be derailed by injuries, to the point where he was shipped off to the Knicks after being a staple of the Rockets franchise for half a decade. He would then move on up to Motown, joining the remnants of a once powerful Eastern Conference club. At 31 years old, most other stars would still be playing at an elite level, but the injuries were too much for T-Mac. He had a relatively healthy season, playing in 72 games, but his numbers weren't much to speak of. He had the lowest scoring output since his rookie year, and the Pistons became a bottom feeder in the Eastern Conference.
Damn.
For the Golden State Warriors, I gotta go with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
This was the first year that you could really tell that Chris Paul was washed. He wasn't at his all-star level in 2023, but he was still a quality starter that just couldn't stay healthy. But in Golden State, not only was he washed, but the fit just didn't make any sense. They tried starting him with Steph, which I didn't get at all. He would eventually move to a bench role, which helped a little bit. The 39-year-old Paul averaged around 9 points and 7 assists in 58 games, but this Warriors team wouldn't even make it out of the play-in, and Paul only scored 3 points in their season-ending loss to Sacramento. For the Houston Rockets, my selection is ISO Joe Johnson. One of the more underrated scorers of the 2000s, Johnson had a very decorated NBA career, but one thing that eluded him was an NBA championship. There was a time in Brooklyn where they tried to give him a championship team, but those teams had as good of a chance to win the title as I do of getting a date with Sidney Sweeney. He would float around the league with stops in Miami and Utah before signing with Houston to try and ring chase. He was never a serious part of the rotation and only put up around 6 points in 23 games. Houston would fail.
I would probably say his play style just didn't match Houston because, you know, That was the Houston that still had Daryl Morey as their GM. And you know that nigga, he all about threes and layups. If he ain't getting a layup, get a three. That nigga hated mid-range shots. I think that's why he cut Melo. This nigga cut Melo because he took a mid-range. Melo, no! Like, bro, he can make that, though. No mid-ranges. You're cut. You're out of here, pal. Trash-ass GM. One of the worst. If Daryl Morey is the GM of your team, prepare to see your whole team get nuked for analytics.
To even make the finals that year, and ISO Joe would ride off into the sunset after a couple attempts at an NBA comeback. For the Indiana Pacers, I got Andrew Bynum, another guy with very limited outing.
Bro, I ain't never seen him outside of a jersey that wasn't fucking the Lakers. This nigga was in Indiana. I never knew.
When you look at him, you just wonder, what the hell happened? After being a key piece to back-to-back NBA championships, Bynum would soon fall out of favor with the Lakers. He was sent to Philly, where he would never play. And after a disastrous stint in Cleveland, Bynum found himself on the Pacers. They brought him in to be a solid scoring backup for Roy Hibbert, but that never came to be. I do not remember this. In fact, it had the inverse effect, as Roy Hibbert put more pressure on himself after Indy brought in the former All-Star. Bynum only appeared in 2 games, averaging around 12 points and 10 rebounds, which, by the way, is heavily padded by a nice concert date. He was cut in the middle of the playoffs, ending his career. The LA Clippers were the home of a lot of washed stars, like DeMarcus Cousins, Hedo Turkoglu, or the previously mentioned Rajon Rondo. But none of those guys come close to how strange it was to see the true Paul Pierce wearing a Clippers uniform. It was obvious.
No, it wasn't. Doc Rivers was there. It made perfect sense. It made perfect sense for him to be in the Clippers in a Clippers uniform. Doc Rivers was there. Come on, dog.
That he just did this to be back with Doc Rivers. And I'm sure it helped that the Clippers were a contending team. They were never going to win anything, but at least you could count on that playoff bonus. Pierce spent most of his days in LA on the bench, including this nice talk with Draymond Green.
Chasing that farewell tour, they don't love you like that. You can't get no farewell tour, they don't love you like that.
Over 2 seasons, he averaged a little over 5 points per game. He had one more feel-good moment before calling it a career in 2017. Turning now to their big brother, the Lakers are also no stranger to giving fading stars one last chance to bask in championship glory. 2 of the most infamous super teams in NBA history resided in the City of Angels, which is where we find their Celtics Shaq, Steve Nash.
Yeah.
After a decorated tenure in Phoenix, Nash was sent to LA.
Steve Nash was straight ass. Straight ass when he got to LA. It's like when he got to LA, all his superpowers was gone.
Hear me good, nigga. I'm here to double down. That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
1, 2, 3. Hell no.
I'm just saying though. Yeah, he got to LA, all his superpowers was gone. This nigga couldn't do shit.
LA, along with Dwight Howard, to form the super team to end all super teams. This was a team that was going to be fun, but Nash's time in LA was anything but. The now 38-year-old was finally showing real signs of decline, only playing in 65 games in 3 seasons, including missing the entire 2015 season. While his numbers don't look terrible, he wasn't the missing piece that would get Kobe another ring. Moving over to Memphis, I gotta go with the answer, Allen Iverson.
Man.
The former MVP found himself in Memphis after tumultuous stints in Denver and Detroit. The latter stay did no favors for him.
Y'all gonna stop disrespecting my GOAT, man. Y'all gonna stop disrespecting my GOAT, man. He didn't even play that many games in Memphis. He didn't even want to be there. They had him coming off the bench. Who puts the GOAT on the bench, man? Trash ass niggas. That's why Memphis still suck now. Stop disrespecting my GOAT, nigga. Fuck you me, nigga. Allen Iverson the GOAT, nigga. Fuck you me. Don't care about none of that shit. What you talking about? Is Michael Jordan the GOAT? Fuck out of here, nigga. It's all about Iverson over here, nigga. We don't show no love to no other nigga over here, man. Iverson the GOAT, nigga.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why he's MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
That's why Iverson the GOAT, nigga. Fuck y'all talking about?
only showing that he did not have what it took to be a team player. So, after ruining his reputation in Detroit, he took his talents to an awful Grizzlies team. Not surprisingly, nothing came out of this. He only played in 3 games, averaging around 13 points per game. Ironically, this was the only time Iverson would ever consistently come off the bench. He never even played in Memphis, as after these 3 games, he would leave the team indefinitely. After being cut, Iverson would rejoin the 76ers, giving his career a slightly happier ending. He did make some history with the Grizzlies though, because he will forever be the first Grizzlies player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Damn.
Truly a banner year.
See, that's
Going
why
down
he
to
to go.
my team, the Miami Heat. There have been some weird players that take part in Heat culture. Jerry Stackhouse shot a ring chase in 2011. So did Mike Bibby.
I do not remember that.
Did you know Manute Bol was on the Heat for a cup of coffee?
No.
But when picking a team Celtics Shaq, it's hard not to select one of his former teammates, Penny Hardaway. One of the most exciting guards of the 90s saw his prime crumble to dust due to injuries. By the time the 2008 season came around, it had been almost 2 years since he had stepped on the hardwood. You could tell that just by looking at his numbers.
To be fair, this was the 2008 season. The Heat was complete ass this season, bro. I'm sorry. Them niggas was straight ass this season. So
Try.
So I honestly don't remember this roster, bro. I honestly don't remember Penny Hardaway being on this team, but considering how ass this team was this year, yeah, it probably he probably was there. I'm just saying.
In 16 games, the 36-year-old only put up around 4 points. After this, he was cut by the team and would never play in the NBA again. For the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm going with Pau Gasol. Everywhere he went, the Hall of Famer made his presence known, being a huge piece to winning teams. Even his latter years on the Spurs weren't too bad. That last year saw him get cut after missing extended time with a foot injury. 2 days later, he signed with the Bucks. He only appeared in 3 games before getting injured yet again. These ended up being his last games in the league, as he would return to Barcelona after a short spell in Portland, and he would retire in 2021. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm going to go with Brandon Roy. The 3-time All-Star was the face of an emerging Blazer.
Hey, Brandon Roy should have stayed retired, bro. This one hurt me. Cause I had high hopes. I thought he went overseas. He got knee surgery done. He was putting more cartilage in his knees and shit. He talking about, I'm about to make a comeback. It's all about to be lit. They talking about he looking good and all this shit. He looking good. He looking like the Brandon Roy of old. I'm like, oh shit, we about to get Brandon Roy back. Then the next thing you know,
That I could love you right in a special way, girl. You light my fire.
Ball game.
I'm just oh man, Brandon Roy, man, that hurt. That one hurt, bruh. Damn.
Court. But he could never reach that next level due to his knees basically disintegrating. Roy retired after limping through the 2011 season, but decided to make a comeback in 2012 after getting a procedure to help his knees, which is how he ended up in Minnesota. But this comeback wouldn't last long, as he would only play in 5 games before going under the knife yet again. Roy was waived following the 2013 season, and the 28-year-old would retire for the second and final time. For the New Orleans Pelicans, there surprisingly aren't that many to choose from. The only one that makes sense is Isaiah Thomas. Things were never the same for the 2-time All-Star after leaving Boston. A hip injury put him on the shelf for too long, and an ever-changing NBA made his
That's because of Danny Ainge, bitch ass.
Following his exodus from Beantown, Thomas would be passed around like a blunt, trying to find any sort of stability.
I just wanted a frost.
Near the end of the 2021 season, the Pelicans gave IT a 10-day contract, because why not? He only appeared in 3 games, averaging a little under 8 points per game. After his contract wasn't renewed, Thomas would continue bouncing around various squads, calling it a career in 2025. For the New York Knicks, I'm going to go with Rasheed Wallace. Until this past year, the 2013 Knicks were the oldest team in NBA history. They were playing all the hits. 39-year-old Jason Kidd, 39-year-old Marcus Camby, 34-year-old Kenyon Martin, and they also got 38-year-old Rasheed Wallace out of retirement. Known for his hot temper and a tendency to pick up technical fouls like they're going out of style, Rasheed was still one of the more underrated bigs of the 2000s. But after leaving Detroit and one last chance at a ring with Boston, Wallace would retire at the age of 35. But after talking to Knicks head coach Mike Woodson, Sheed decided to give the NBA another try. Even if it was only for 5 to 10 minutes a night, he appeared in 20 of New York's first 22 games before going down with a broken foot. He would only appear in one more game before deciding to hang it up. He averaged a little under 8 points per game in his reserve role. It wasn't a complete loss, though. He managed to get one more ejection.
Bad habits on the floor.
Ball don't lie!
Dragic misses the technical.
Man, they gave him a technical for that. Ball don't lie, nigga.
For the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm going to take it back to their days in Seattle and pick Patrick Ewing.
Damn.
One of the greatest centers of all time, the postman was a staple of 90s hoops. You see a picture of him in a Knicks jersey and it just looks right. Which is why this picture of him with the Sonics looks so cursed. He was traded to Seattle after his latter years in the Big Apple were plagued with injuries. Shockingly enough, his sole year in Seattle was almost entirely injury-free, but he was very washed. He was slower, ineffective, and not at all what the Sonics needed to get back to the top. He averaged a little under 10 points and 7 rebounds in 79 games. He only lasted 1 year with the Sonics, retiring in 2002 after a short stint with the Magic. Speaking of, for the Orlando Magic, my pick is the Rain Man, Shawn Kemp. Yes, Patrick Ewing was cooked by this point, but he looks like Dwight Howard when compared to Shawn Kemp. The 33-year-old's body was completely toast after years of weight gain and substance abuse. After forming a nice 1-2 punch with Gary Payton in Seattle, Kemp could never recapture that success once he left the Emerald City. By the time he reached Orlando, he was a shell of his former self. He played in 76 games, but my God was he cooked. He only averaged around 7 points and 6 rebounds on terrible splits, and a whopping 3 points and 2 rebounds in the playoffs. Following the 2003 season, Kemp would never play in the NBA again. For the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm going to go with Paul Millsap. The 4-time All-Star really broke out once he joined the Atlanta Hawks in 2013. Atlanta had their best stretch of hoops of the decade with Millsap on their squad, but he could never recapture that magic once he left the Hawks in 2017. Fast forward 4 years and a cup of coffee with the Nets, and Millsap, now 37, would take a reserve role with the 76ers. With not much left in the tank, Millsap would spend most of his time in Philly on the bench, only appearing in 9 games and putting up a little under 4 points a night. He went unsigned the next 2 seasons and would retire in 2024. For the Phoenix Suns, I'll go with Jermaine O'Neal. While he got a start in Portland, O'Neal would break out on the Pacers, becoming a 6-time All-Star on a team with real championship ambitions. But he would begin to bounce around the league in 2008, residing in places like Miami and Boston. By 2012, his stock had fallen so far that he joined the Phoenix Suns, a team who just traded their franchise face in the offseason. O'Neal will be a semi-regular rotation player, appearing in 55 games.
But to be fair, though, he kind of had a little bit of a bounce back when he went to Golden State.
Couple solid games, harkening back to his Pacer days, and finished the year averaging around 8 points and 5 rebounds. But he still wasn't long for the NBA, as he would retire in 2016 after 1 more year with the Warriors. For the Portland Trailblazers, I'm going to go back to Shawn Kemp.
Damn.
The first repeat entry, which should also tell you how bad Kemp's later years were. He had maintained some of his all-star form in Cleveland, but that lockout played a huge part in his demise. This was when he started to put on more weight, and those problems would continue in Portland. His personal problems got so bad that he had to check into rehab in 2001. Those Blazers teams were loaded with excess talent that never meshed well
damn kids drove them crazy.
In 2 seasons, the Rain Man only averaged around 6 points and 4 rebounds a night. For the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to take you all the way back to 1969 when they were the Cincinnati Royals. When Celtics legend Bob Cousy suited up at the age of 41. What makes it so crazy is that he was also the head coach and had been retired for 6 years, but he didn't.
If he's the head coach, then shit, it is what it is. But if I had to say who was washed in the Kings uniform, I'd probably say Zach Randolph or Vince Carter. Zach Randolph, Vince Carter, or you can go with any of the current players on there right now. Shit.
Like how the team couldn't run their offense like the Celtics. Oscar Robertson was a different kind of point guard, and the Royals didn't have the same kind of personnel as those championship squads. So eventually, Cousy just said, screw it, I'll do it myself. Supposedly, he also got back on the court because it would help their attendance. He made his first appearance in a November win over Chicago, but would only appear in 6 more games before hanging it up yet again. In 7 games, he averaged 0.7 points. Cousy would remain the head coach in Cincinnati until 1973. For the San Antonio Spurs, I gotta go with another repeat, with Tracy McGrady making another appearance.
Damn.
As we've established, McGrady was cooked by the time he got to Detroit. Nothing really changed.
Hey, at least he made it out the first round.
So bad that he had to go overseas. But after balling in China, he was given one last chance to play in the NBA when the San Antonio Spurs came calling. One knock against T-Mac was that he had never made it past the first round, so this would be his best shot. Because he got signed so late, he never appeared in a regular season game. He played in garbage time throughout the playoffs, but he never scored a single point. The future Hall of Famer would have to watch as the Spurs were beaten by the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals, and he would retire later that year. Which sucks to see because the Spurs would win the title the very next year. Brutal. For the Toronto
You saying
Raptors,
that like they was gonna bring him back.
go with Hakeem Olajuwon. The Dream raked in every accomplishment one could imagine in Houston. An MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and 2 NBA championships. But around the turn of the millennium, the Rockets were well without fuel, and their GOAT wanted a change of scenery, which is how he found himself in Toronto. This is another case where the numbers aren't god-awful, but the absurdity of this stint is up there with the likes of Tony Parker shooting up at the Hornets. He's another guy who is so synonymous with Rockets basketball, so seeing him team up with Vince Carter just looks so cursed. The 39-year-old appeared in 61 games for the Raptors, averaging around 7 points and 6 rebounds, and following the conclusion of the 2002 season, the Dream would call it a career. For the Utah Jazz, I'm gonna pick Kevin Love. Love once carried the hopes and dreams of the Minnesota Timberwolves, but nothing was gonna save that team in the 2010s, even with Love stuffing the stat sheet every night, which meant that it was only a matter of time before he was sent packing. After winning a championship with the Cavs and a pretty solid stint in Miami, Love was sent to Utah as part of a trade for Norman Powell. Unlike many former stars, Love actually decided to stay in Utah. The 5-time All-Star wouldn't be a regular part of the Jazz rotation for long, mainly being relegated to the old man who gets put in the game in garbage time role. You know, just something to pop the crowd in a loss. The 37-year-old only appeared in 37 games, averaging around 7 points and 6 rebounds a night. He'll be a free agent in the offseason. But given that he chose to stay in Utah last year, it may be the beginning of the end for the future Hall of Famer.
Man, ain't nobody picking this man
up. And finally, for the Washington Wizards, I'm going to go with Ralph Sampson.
Damn.
Many may point to Michael Jordan's 2-year stay as a player executive.
Hell no.
But
Michael was still putting up numbers.
He was still damn good in DC. The same cannot be said for Ralph Sampson. He got a start in Houston, where he and Hakeem Olajuwon would form one of the most threatening backcourt duos of the 80s. There was a reason they called them the Twin Towers. Standing at a staggering 7'4", Sampson was on a Hall of Fame trajectory from the get-go. But after his 4th consecutive All-Star nod, his career would never be the same, which led to him bouncing around the league. His swan song would be with the Washington Bullets. He could never get back to anything remotely close to his prime, even on a bottom-feeding team.
Damn.
After only appearing in 10 games and averaging 2 points, Sampson was waived by Washington, and he would never play in the NBA again. So those were the Celtic Shaqs of every NBA team. All this shows is a lesson that we already know way too well. Father Time will always remain undefeated. No matter if you're a role player, an all-star, or one of the best to ever play the game, every athlete will get to a point where they just ain't good as they once were, which is understandable. It happens to all of us. What makes these so interesting to me is the absurdity of so many of them. Seeing these legends of the game suit up for a new team so late into their careers is so strange. It would have been so much better to see guys like Olajuwon, Ewing, or Parker cross the finish line with their original clubs. But sometimes, players and teams don't care for sentimentality. Or other players like Rondo or Shaq are winding down careers loaded with frequent flyer miles. Either way, these players shouldn't feel bad about these stints. The reason that they were considered for this list in the first place was because they were all some of the best players in the league for many years. So, in some weird way, maybe it's an honor to be a Celtics Shaq. At least you live forever in memes instead of being forgotten. That's going to do it for this video. If you like what you saw here, I've made plenty of in-depth videos on some of these guys, and others that were actually good on their weird team. I'll leave that link in the description.
Alright. I'm just gonna about do it for this one, most definitely, man. Ain't nothing left to say. Some of them I agree with, some of them I disagree with. But other than that, though, man, just play the music, bro.
You light my fire.
Get this sorry ass nigga out of here! You stop! Hell no! Trash ass nigga!
Get up! Get up! Get up! Smooth this man!
Man, you know what? I'm tired of you! I'm tired of this shit!
You're not that guy, Sal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
You're done. You're washed. It's over. Try it!